Welcome back. It's always so weird when we do this without the intro music.
I know. I'm sorry.
I was really confused.
I know
it was quick.
I swear to God, guys, I got that music off of YouTube's royalty-free music selection.
So here's the thing, Ed. It's not the music.
No, I think it's the announcement. But no, because it keeps coming back as the music. Keeps saying the song is the issue.
There was a song in the background.
There wasn't.
Go back and listen. I don't believe you.
Okay, whatever.
I don't believe you. In any case, it is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. I'm Aaron Smith, joined as always by Jeff Howell. You can find him also Sunday mornings on the Bearcat Brunch, along with his co-host Dave Simone, and the self-proclaimed best producer in the city, Edward.
And now Howell. MJF fanboy.
I've been a big fan of MJF for a little while now. I don't think you check my tweets. Go back and read the receipts.
I might have you muted on Twitter. I don't know.
In the words of Gary V, receipts. MFer receipts.
Fair.
Huh. So, what's been going on with you guys this week? Catch up real quick.
My oldest is starts the 9U football playoffs on Saturday. Playing a team that they beat 2 weeks ago on a final play, little reverse jet sweep action. So hopefully they go into this game with some confidence, and I really think they dominated the game 2 weeks ago a lot more than the score showed. So hopefully they put that all into practice and we move on. But we got to jet out of there and then drive 3 hours to a wedding and hopefully get there on time. My boy's going to change in the truck on the way, and then he's going to be a ring bearer. So it's going to be an interesting
Zach Taylor
Saturday.
teaches your son's. Zach Taylor coaches your son's football team with trick plays.
Wasn't really a trick play. It's just a reverse.
At the 1 yard line.
It was a 4 yard line. But it's 9U, so fourth grade football. That's gonna work every time.
The oldest here won his last fall ball tournament for baseball this past weekend, so that's awesome.
Nice.
The oldest.
Play.
What's that?
What positions do you play?
He plays first base, third base, and pitcher.
All at one time?
Utility guy. That's a utility guy, Ed.
He had, I think, 3 of the 5 RBIs for the winning game in the tournament. So
very nice.
Sweet. Any soccer tournaments, Ed?
Not this weekend, but next out in Indy. But we did win our final league game.
It's the same place where you didn't have any reception?
No, this one's Indy. That one was Warren County. This is Indy.
Gonna have service?
We'll find out when we get there.
You didn't do any forward scouting, did you, Ed?
It's in Noblesville near where.
Brent?
Huh? Oh, is Brent out there? He should come out and watch the game. Brent, come out and watch the game, buddy. No, it's near damn, MJF is heated right now. Where that guy, Dave Matthew Band, where that concert is every year.
All right. Well,
this is a firing start. All right. Awesome.
I'm just really excited for the next
couple things.
The next 5 minutes of talking. What else happened this weekend, Ed?
On Saturday, I went to 50 West Brewing to watch one FC Cincinnati win their first MLS playoff game against the New York Red Bulls. Did you guys get to watch the game?
I saw parts of it.
I refuse to watch.
Why did you refuse to watch? You don't support Cincinnati teams that are in the playoffs?
No, I don't support soccer.
Don't support soccer. Okay. One of the biggest sports in the world.
They have plenty of support. They don't need mine.
Fair.
Well, the FC Cincinnati did defeat the New York Red Bulls on Saturday 2-1. In my opinion, it should have been 3-1, but I'm not the VAR system. Goals were scored by Acosta in the 74th minute and Brandon Vasquez in the 86th minute.
Vasquez, we discussed that last week.
Vasquez, that's what I said. Thank you.
Okay.
Brenner was robbed of a goal on some BS offsides call.
I don't know, Ed. Like, listen to the announcers. They clearly said that Cameron made a play on the ball.
Yeah, apparently
and you can't do that. You can't do that. He was offside, very clearly offside, maybe even 3 to 4 feet. And then he did a motion back, which he ran into one of the New York Red Bulls and kind of opened the lane there for the ball to scoot on by and into the net. So he kind of made nope. I believe the official did one of these numbers, which means that he checked the VAR system, and then he gave this, which is not an incomplete pass in soccer. That is, in fact, a no goal.
That is what that was, which was a scary point in the game because that's when we had tied it 1-1, and I was starting to think we might not be able to tie this game. What happens if we tie the game? Because we have had 2 draws with the New York Red Bulls this year, so we finally beat them. But like I said, Brandon came back, scored one in the 86th minute, and we went home with our first MLS playoff win. So that means we do play the Philadelphia Union on Thursday night. FC Cincinnati is 1 win, 1 draw with the Union. Actually, the Union is
a draw.
Yeah. The Union is a 1 seed, so we have a number 5 seed playing the number 1 seed on Thursday night, which should be interesting.
So is the entirety of the soccer playoff one and done? That's it.
Yes, just like college basketball, it is one and done.
Or NFL football.
Or NFL football, yeah.
Okay.
But in that game, New York Red Bull had 51% of the possession time. FC Cincinnati had 49%. New York had 16 shots at goal, where FC Cincinnati only had 12. So if you watch the last 12 minutes, which by the way, 12 minutes of extra time, like stoppage time, what's that all about? I've never seen in the 1 year.
Is that a lot? Is that a lot in soccer?
It seems like a lot. I was with 2 ladies who have played soccer at pretty high levels, and they were both really surprised by 12 minutes. In the 1 year that I've been watching MLS soccer, I don't see that much.
Co-ed rec league isn't a high level, Ed.
They played higher than that. Thank you. Disrespect their level of play.
I don't know who you're with.
Mister, I sacked an NFL quarterback in flag football.
Also not a high level.
Disrespectful.
I'm aware.
The end of the game, though, FC Cincinnati ended the game with 4 yellow cards in that last 12 minutes. They got 2 yellow cards in there. But, good game all around. A lot of corner kicks. If you guys don't know, corner kicks usually end up in goals, in my opinion, from what I see. Again, I'm not a professional. I've only been watching MLS soccer for a year. But, it was a good game. FC Cincinnati came out and fought. There was a nice crowd that met them at Lunken Airport on Saturday to welcome them home. And I think there'll be a nice crowd hitting up the bars here in Cincinnati on Thursday to cheer them on against the Philadelphia Union.
Now, there's a player that plays for the Red Bulls, Frankie Amaya.
Used to play for FC Cincinnati? Yes, he is.
And is he a guy that maybe forced his way out of Cincinnati? Or maybe made some comments, something like that?
And he may have made something. I don't know.
And then, okay.
Do you have information about Frankie Amaya?
I just saw there was a lot of some jabs from FC fans on Twitter about, I guess he said something about FC Cincinnati can't take him where he wants to go. And so then they kind of made some jabs at him being with the Red Bulls now, and FC Cincinnati knocked him out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you make comments like that, they come back and bite you in the butt. That's why you don't make comments like that.
Okay.
You never know what's going to happen in the future. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
A little fun fact: if FC Cincinnati beats Philadelphia, it is a strong chance that they will be playing New York. not the Red Bulls, but another New York team. They got 100 teams, which could end up being on half soccer field, half baseball field, because the Yankees are still playing.
So they play in Yankee Stadium.
What's up, Crypt Keeper?
Yo, what up, Crypt?
I don't know. It's just something I read online. It's an interesting fact. What's up, Crypt Keeper?
Another interesting fact. I went ahead and deleted us off Twitter since you weren't answering the text.
Why are we deleted on Twitter?
Because we're live. We're live on YouTube. The live stream on Twitter is not on anymore. We want people on the YouTubes.
I must have hit the wrong button. So did you tweet the YouTube link then?
I was busy deleting it and waiting for a response.
Excellent.
You saw me sitting here talking about FC Cincinnati.
Well,
Would you check my phone while I'm talking about?
It's why I took care of the situation.
One of the greatest teams in Cincinnati right now.
One step at a time, Edward. Ed, you got a wrestling minute?
I don't. I'm watching it right now. Oh, hey, the badass Billy Gunn's on TV.
AEW is in town.
They are. They're in Cincinnati.
And you don't have a wrestling minute?
I'm going to watch this and have a wrestling minute next week to review the Cincinnati matches.
Why Councilman Barnett doesn't listen anymore. All right.
I mean, I did watch a little bit of the DX reunion last week, but
that's all it was a little bit.
It was very small.
They rolled out in a Jeep and did all their like key things that they used to do, and then the show ended.
For you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing Ed's wrestling minute, Jeff. That was great. You have one job.
Oh, okay. So, Darren, we got an FC fan over here, Ed.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate you.
He brings up a good point that apparently the Red Bulls like to slow the game down, and FC didn't let that happen. And
they were trying to do that the whole game. They were trying to. Their goalie was very slow and getting goal kicks off and things like that. They did try it. There was a lot of people at the bar complaining about that. But you know,
would you say that contributed to the 12 minutes of stoppage time? I don't know how they calculate stoppage time.
Usually stoppage time is calculated based off of like injuries and review and things like that. So
fair.
I mean, because I was asking somebody there, like in a reverse manner, stoppage time or them slowing down the game could be just like when you're trying to save clock in basketball and you roll the ball down the court. So it's legal in both ways.
All right. Well, we did already blow that up, but
yeah.
Since there was a comment about it, I wanted you to be able to address it.
I appreciate Darren for jumping in there.
Aaron, there was another Cincinnati team that played this weekend.
No
and
segment
it's not our,
up, huh?
And it's not our beloved Bearcats because they played by. Tough opponent. We moved on from that.
Look, I'm just impressed, honestly. Like, we won't get into any of the preview yet, but I'm just impressed that they didn't slip in the standings.
So I have a theory because it's similar to, I don't know if it was you or Chad that I think you guys maybe had this discussion on a nightcap. Maybe there's so much out there that I don't remember where it came from.
I don't either.
But it was after the South Florida game when they moved up in the standings. They moved up in the rankings. Mm-hmm. And had that been last year, they most certainly would have dropped. Right? Mm-hmm. So when you are in the top 10, there's kind of a different expectation of what your game on the weekend looks like to either hold where you're at or move up. Mm-hmm. When you're at the back end of the top 25, it's just about winning. Like, because there's so much chaos that happens generally between like 11 and 25 that as long as you win, people ahead of you are going to lose, and you'll just kind of, it's like that natural progression to move up to wherever, up to about 10, wherein then they start kind of like really nitpicking things and like, oh, you didn't, win by a lot, or you looked bad when you won.
Well, it's because we're not in the top 10 yet. So
right, exactly.
Right, yeah.
But when you go to a bye week, it's almost kind of the same. Like there's like some losses around you or whatever. So then they're like, I guess we got to like move some of these guys up here because we need to get a couple more teams into the standings. We're we're jettisoning these guys out. Like, you don't typically see teams go from like 6th to not in the stand, like not in the top 25, right?
No, you don't.
But yes, it was nice to see that they moved up. What was it? The coaches poll they moved up, and the AP poll they stayed 21.
Yeah. I thought they were 21 in both. Was I wrong?
I think they moved up to 19 and
19 in the coaches. Okay.
19 in the coaches.
I couldn't remember. I didn't do my homework.
Right.
Got it pulled
Right,
up. 21 in the AP and 19 in the coaches. Yep, you're right.
I have another show.
I heard.
Is it on Sundays?
I usually tune out after about the first 3 minutes.
You still do a great job producing.
I go and get coffee and make sure that Rachel and the baby are okay. All of that. But getting back to the game that you alluded to about 4 minutes ago, though, there was another team that played. The Cincinnati Bengals went down to the Big Easy and took on the New Orleans Saints in a game that I was terrified about.
Did you find a way to watch it at all?
Yeah, sure. I got the NFL Red Zone because let me vent about that. Why do I live in Athens, the hometown of one Joe Burrow?
You've done this before on the show.
Yeah, well, I'm doing it again because it was a situation that happened again. And the only two options that I had were conference opponents, Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Stop it. I'm going to take your privileges away on this.
Hey, hold on. Jeff's wearing an Elder shirt on the show. We're not allowed to do that.
Why? It's not Xavier.
It's just as bad.
Also not Pittsburgh. I got zero issue with Elder.
Thanks, Aaron.
As one who lived on the west side for several years, zero issue with Elder. Anyway.
Back to Aaron's irritation with not being able to watch the Bengals.
I don't understand why I'm 2 hours from Cincinnati and I'm stuck watching, I believe Pittsburgh's 3 or 4 hours, 2.5, 3, 4 hours, whatever the case may be from here. I don't understand why I'm stuck watching Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
So you could only watch on Red Zone. So you just got highlights and following on Twitter.
Whenever they were in the red zone. Yeah, that's all I've seen. So gonna be leaning into you heavy on this one, Jeff.
Man.
Because I have no idea. I feel like Ed in Warren County.
Man, that's like you're gonna have to look into
why don't you just get like
methods. I don't think Hulu is gonna fix it. It's about the broadcast area, Ed.
Correct.
Oh,
It would
get a
be
VPN.
It would be DirecTV.
Get a VPN.
Yep, that's illegal.
VPNs aren't illegal.
To tell it that you're in a different place than where you're actually at.
Wherever the VPN puts you, man.
So just keep refreshing until I get in.
We can talk about it, Aaron.
In any case, that was irritating, but I was terrified looking at the score, and Cincinnati had put themselves in a position to at 28 when they were up. I thought they were going to lose that game 29-28.
Yeah, it had that feeling again
from the
of
beginning.
like, well, like not even then, like once it started, like, you know, it's like 14-23, and then we score and it's, you know, like 21-23, and I'm like, okay. Then they get a field goal, and they had been able to. I mean, the Bengals had 3 legit possessions in the second half.
They eat up most of the third quarter
because the Saints were doing a good job of keeping the ball away from the Bengals offense, and our defense looked not the same. As far as like there was a couple like stupid penalties that came through. The Trey Hendrickson like 3rd and a mile roughing the passer comes to mind. I didn't, and that's kind of like out of the norm for him, I would say, like, like a stupid penalty like that. But whatever, whenever they were down like 26-21, I think. And I was thinking in my head, like, here we go. The Bengals are going to go on like a decent drive here. It's going to be 28-26. And then the Saints are going to get the ball and hold on to it, kick a last second field goal. And we're going to be like, oh, but they were so close. Like, things looked good. And then they blew it at the end. Luckily, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even like I was starting to get that feeling that this is going to be one that we just lose on fundamentals. When I saw earlier in the game when Trent Taylor fumbles the punt return, I'm like, what are we doing? What was that? And that was what, the first offensive possession of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
We dropped it. It was the second offensive production.
Yeah, because we went 3 and out.
Yep, 3 and out
to start.
That was so fast that I thought, because again, watching Red Zone, I thought that was the first time we had the ball.
Yeah, I had just turned it on because I was in Newtown this time, so I did get reception on my phone. So I was watching, and they gave it up, coughed it up.
We started the game with a 5-yard run, then a 4-yard. That's 3rd and 1. We're in the shotgun. Joe Burrow gets sacked. We punt. Then the Saints get the ball, go 3 and out, punt, and then you have the muff punt, which then turned into a Saints touchdown. Like 30, they only had to go 32 yards. Got on the 32. Turned into Saints touchdown. Bengals get it, punt, Saints punt, and then I think. So then you've got the Joe Mixon touchdown, where Burrow started to look more last year Burrow, and we say this about the Bearcats, and I'm going to say it about the Bengals, and I think that it holds true, at least in my mind, that the Bengals offense is so much better when they are ultra aggressive. It's
averaging 4 yards an offensive play in Baltimore, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's odd that came up there. Anyway, so when the Bengals are ultra aggressive, when they're making the downfield passes, however, the run game and the short passing game began to open up those. There was a couple shots that they took downfield. There was one that comes to mind where Chase just flat dropped it.
Yeah.
And I believe that would have been a touchdown. So like you could see it starting to form, like starting to see the Bengals from last year that, coincidentally week 6 last year, they scored 30 points for the first time. It's week 6 again. They scored 30 points for the first time. There were people that said like the second passing touchdown where he hit Chase was the play that they felt like kind of is like something we'll look back on and say like that's a turning point. But for me, the play is the Joe Burrow rushing touchdown.
That was a nice touchdown because he had to get away. He had to get away from a couple tackles to get into that one.
He gets it, drops back. He sees that whole left side of the field opens up.
He had to do that a couple times too.
And it was like, let's see, it was 3rd and 19 or 3rd and 8 at the 19. So like, 3rd and a little bit long. And he turns it into what looked like, okay, he's going to get to the first down line and slide. But then as the camera angle panned and you saw that literally there were no Saints on that side of the, why are you holding an oar?
I just wanted to hold on to something. It's not an oar, it's a baseball bat.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Do you fear that your life is in danger? What's happening right now? I
don't know. I just need to do something with my hands. I didn't take my medicine today. Leave me alone.
I don't know. This with my hands.
I've been fiddling with this.
If you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby.
Damn right.
But I think that right there was like the play that I'll look back if the season continues on a positive trajectory here. I'll look back at the Joe Burrow 19-yard touchdown run.
So Jeff, I have a question for you. You were talking about, getting past this to Chase this time. Is that the T Higgins effect? Even though T Higgins was like a game day activation, like
he was a decoy for sure.
For sure. I mean, because week before didn't have T Higgins, and we could not get the ball to Chase very often. So I just think it's weird that even though he was like a game day decision, he was still had that much of an impact on the game and getting Chase open.
I also think the game was called completely different. If you look at the route tree, that's become a thing on Twitter that they post often.
I'm not a fan of that stuff.
I get it, but again, if you look at last week compared to this week, it's a completely different route tree that he ran. So they obviously schemed for him to do some different things as far as that goes. The part I don't like about it is they show the green after the catch, which that is going to look completely different compared to what they actually ran before the ball was thrown to them. Right. In any case, though, I do feel at this point in time that Joe has a tendency to try and force the ball to Jamar Chase.
He's comfortable with.
I don't know that there's even arguing that, but this week, for whatever reason, it worked out more often than it didn't.
Well, I think he started taking a lot more of the things that were available underneath, and when he was doing that, it like on the Jamar Chase ones there. I don't know that it was really
That's
forced.
all he did against Baltimore, though.
But I don't think it was
Target
really.
Jamar Chase.
But there were a couple deep balls in the Baltimore game that were just. I mean, there were
only like 3 deep balls the entire game.
Right, but he didn't hit on them.
No.
What I'm saying is now, like he was able to hit on them, and it like whenever he hit on these underneath. God, Ed, when he was able to hit on these underneath. Routes and dump the ball off, and obviously the running game, Mixon was like 8 for 45, but he was averaging like 5.6 yards a carry. So you're doing stuff like that. It does make them start to be a little more honest, and you've got some underneath routes that then cause some single high safety, which is something that that cover 2 nonsense that we've been seeing, which for whatever reason is like the most exotic defense that we've ever faced, apparently, coming into the first 6 weeks of the season. Like, I know a lot of people have pointed out that's, you would think that the Bengals would have been prepared for that. That's something that obviously is there to combat getting beat over the top. And they seem to have adjusted now. I don't know if maybe Zach Taylor kicked somebody out of the collective that was calling plays.
Should have kicked himself out of the collective.
Maybe what you don't know, Aaron, because
see how his paper was this week.
Maybe Ed was in the collective, and you don't know that.
It wasn't the big laminated paper. It was just a little 8x11.
Do you think those were just words of encouragement for Joe?
I hope they were words.
Joe.
I hope they were. I hope they were words of encouragement for Zach Taylor. Like, you are good at this job. You are. Ed, you're muted because God knows what you were doing on your desk.
The top off my beer can.
It was the loudest thing of my entire life.
Wasn't that loud?
So Jamar was 7 for 132.
I could have been there.
2 touchdowns. The 60-yard touchdown was a thing of beauty. I will say the first touchdown that he scored, I appreciate his gritty and his celebration.
Well, considering gritty was there.
Can we not incorporate fake injuries into the gritty celebration? Because I had a heart attack.
That's become like a thing too, though. to
Like
fake an
like,
injury in the celebration.
he's like grabbing a hammy.
He's not the
and,
one who
like,
started that, I don't believe. But that's become a thing. Like I think I even saw like a women's soccer team do a celebration like that where they were celebrating and she feigned an injury, like grabbing her quad and then celebrated.
Oh man, so like I see it right. Like the pass comes over the middle. It was definitely squeezed in. He made a good catch. And when they showed the slow-mo replay of the tackle, his right leg did look like maybe it like jammed. And then he, rolls over, gets up, does the grit, grabs his leg, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, the announcers aren't even saying anything. Did they not see that? Like he grabbed his leg. He was limping. And then it like went back to him and he was like fake limping on the sideline again. And I'm like, this is not good.
Steven, I know you appear babyface in your YouTube picture here. He says, "Wonder if I can convince Jeff to grow a beard just so we can have the trio of reverse hats and facial hair. Maybe all four if Chad jumps on." Due to his,
I can't. I'm not allowed to grow one. Although in November I can. So I'll give it a shot.
November.
Movember.
Yeah, no shave November.
Actually, since you guys were all shaving my beard last week, I actually reached out to Aaron's sister to see if she could color it for me before I take my trip for work.
Huh? You're gonna dye your beard?
No, I'm gonna keep it the same color. I'll keep it the same color. Just get rid of the gray.
Right. That's dyeing your beard.
Okay, sure, but I'm not dyeing it black. Like I'm not pulling a Hulk Hogan here or anything like that.
Just for men? Are you gonna...
touch of gray?
I don't know. Whatever hairstylists use. I don't know.
Huh. I don't know what to make of any of that.
Why don't we just shave it all off, Ed?
No, why would we do that?
We are not going to shave your beard.
3 months.
You would shave your beard.
Yeah,
I just got to do beard clippers too. So
for what?
To clean up the beard.
Anyway, back to the game. So I guess my question after watching this game, Jeff, Ed, is Cincinnati for real? Because we were talking a couple weeks ago, you get to 3-3, we're feeling a little bit better about things. And now we go into I don't even know who we have this week.
It's Atlanta.
So Marcus Mariota, who, as long as he throws less than 13, I believe they're undefeated if he throws under 13 passes a game. That's a good stat to have as a quarterback.
Well, he was 13 for 14 last week.
Maybe it's when he completes 13 or less. I'm not really sure. I think somebody made a tweet making fun of him because I'm not sure that anybody really likes Marcus Mariota, but they are 3-3. Even though most of us would like to see Desmond Ridder get his shot. That said, you have Atlanta at home. You're at Cleveland the following week. And then you have the Panthers back at home before the bye. So 3 more chances to get to 6-3 before the bye week.
That's the number we threw out.
It is, and you had to start somewhere. So
we said the minimum that they could be when they were 0-2, like the worst we would feel okay with is if they are 6-3 going into that bye week.
So
I still don't feel comfortable.
I don't know what that means. You have to
the game on Sunday did not make me feel comfortable about this team. Like, yes, we won. We stuck out a win, and that's great. But I still don't feel comfortable that we can.
What are you worried about? What are your concerns?
I still have concern with the offense. Like, I don't know that we can continue to connect with players like that. I mean, T. Higgins effect or not, I still think we're going to struggle to get the ball to Jamar Chase.
Look, if I'm Tyler Boyd, I'd be mad.
Or Tyler Boyd, we should be.
I'm not being targeted more.
He should be targeted more.
So Tyler Boyd, though, is having. I think the reason he's not targeted as much is because they're moving Jamar Chase around. They're putting Jamar in the slot, and that's where Tyler Boyd does his work.
Kyle Simpson says he's concerned with everything.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's just thank you for being there with me. The defense.
Thank you for being here, Kyle. We appreciate you.
Yeah, the defense did not look good on Sunday, so I hope they can come back and look the way they did, earlier this year. But I still don't feel comfortable. Now, if we come out this week and just blow the Falcons out of the water and we actually show progression, then maybe I'll feel a little bit better next week. It's a possibility. I still don't see a Super Bowl run like last year in our
Let me ask you a question.
Logan Wilson getting injured is not good.
After week 6 of last year, did you see a Super Bowl run?
No.
Well, you're fair. That's fair. No, I didn't. But
I mean, to be fair, I don't think anybody did. So I'm just
Zach Taylor didn't.
I mean,
because he knew he was the one calling the plays. Just saying.
Aaron says it and pieces out.
Is that the equivalent of a mic drop?
It might be.
Might be. All right.
So do you have any other
concerns, Edward?
Play calling. Like, was that Zach Taylor taking over the reins, like you had alluded to earlier, and maybe pushing somebody else out, or did Zach Taylor just get lucky this week with his play calling? I don't know. I think I need another game, maybe another 2 games to know.
Okay. So what do they have to do against Atlanta?
Like I said, they had to come out with a convincing win, like not just, winning by 3 like we did this week. They need to come out with a convincing win. Score in the first drive, please.
It was 4, but
4. Sorry,
math.
Math very well. I know. Yeah,
I know where you went to high school.
Thank you. Same one that you went to, so I don't know how the math different. But like they had to come out with a convincing win. Like I want the defense to play very well, and I want the offense to play very well. I can't have one playing better than the other. Like I can't have one supporting the other. I can't have one winning because of the other. I need to see some progression.
I was in honors classes, that's why. I agree.
I was not.
I agree. I think they do need to come out and do some big things. I would like to see this. I don't want to say an evolution of the offense because I don't feel like it's an evolution. I think it's a regression back to where we were, which is a good thing. We're airing the ball out. I saw some crazy stat that came out somewhere on Twitter today, and I know Joe Goodberry retweeted it. I can't recall who the original tweet was, but it was like Joe Burrow since the beginning of last season, how many touchdowns he had that were, I believe, either over 20 or over 30 yards, and he's got an obscene amount compared to nobody. There is no comparison. Ed, if you can find that graph, it's pretty intriguing.
Shared it in the group, right?
I'm not sure I did. Like I said, Joe Goodberry has it, if nothing else. But I just don't see hesitancy in the aerial attack still. I know that we've seen a lot of the plays that I feel like we've seen this season have been yak yards. But I did see a stat that came out today as well that we're not super high in yak yardage compared to some of the other guys who are higher in yards. Like Justin Herbert has been a recipient of a lot of yak yards after catch, for those who don't know what yak is. But just
as he throws the ball to Austin Eckler.
I mean, you'll have that. But
I would.
I can't be mad at it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get a chance to see a ton of play calling, though. Did it overall look better? Like something to be encouraged
I thought it looked
about?
So
obviously,
you can use that.
Was missing a ton of players.
They were a lot. They were missing a lot of players, and we talked about that on the brunch, going hours before the game started. Okay, so right here, Ed has the graph of touchdown passes of 30+ yards since the start of last season.
And it's from Secret Base. I'm not familiar with what Secret Base is, but this is a pretty cool graph.
We'll give it a follow.
So it looks like Joe Burrow has 18 touchdown passes of 30+ yards since the start of last year. Obviously, we know there were a lot of them last year, so I don't know like how that breaks down last year to this year so far. The next closest is Russell Wilson and Pat Mahomes. We know Russell Wilson has like none this year, but Russell Wilson and Pat Mahomes are at 9, so he has double the deep balls.
Right. The next guy closest.
And I think that
Tom Brady, Derek Carr, and Carson Wentz.
I would have never guessed Carson Wentz anywhere near that conversation, but
I think they put up they have another one that is receiving touchdowns of 60 plus yards or more since the start of last season, and I'll let you guess who number 1 is. It's Jamar Chase.
Shocked.
Right. So my concerns going into the Falcons game are that they are, if we go off what we were just talking about, I mean, Marcus Mariota tried to throw the ball 14 times over the course of an entire game. So they're going to be running the ball. He's also a mobile quarterback. There it is. I know I'm going back and forth now, but Ed's throwing the graphic up. So touchdown reception, 60 plus yards since the start of last season. Jamar Chase has 5. The next closest is a slew of people that only have 2. So, and Jamar added to that with his 60-yard. Crib Keeper says, no more close games, drinking too much now. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. LOL.
Damn it was what he said. Also,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Speaking
it could be a family. There could be kids listening. I don't know, Aaron.
Crypt Keeper, speaking of Thanksgiving and drinking, if you haven't had this Taft's Frisch's pumpkin pie, it is delicious. Doesn't taste much like pumpkin pie, but it's still delicious.
Also, if you don't want to support Taft because of the way they handled their money appropriation on the funds that they collected during the pandemic, when they took all of the donations and didn't give them to the employees, you can join me.
Bush Light.
You can join me in your strike against Taft's Brewhouse.
I forgot about that.
So let me go back to what I was.
This.
Okay, let me go back to what I was saying.
Cut that out.
We're not sure what the deal is with Logan Wilson.
I'd like to retract that from the record.
So it was the same shoulder he had surgery on.
Browns.
I know they're saying he's day to day. Hopefully that's true. Hopefully maybe like some sort of stinger there that he had. I don't know. But you're without him. Josh Tufo had a boot on his foot. And I don't want to say his name wrong. Tufele, I believe, is the guy that filled in for Tufo. He did okay. He did pretty well. But you're missing him. You're missing Logan Wilson, and there was another guy that got hurt in the warm-ups, Jeff Gunter. So that's 3 pretty big injuries across the defense when you're talking about going against the Falcons who are going to run the ball a lot. DJ Reader obviously is still out and hurt. And I don't think he's eligible to come back for a few more weeks. I don't know when that.
Are you surprised to not have seen a move yet?
Well, here's the thing. So Jeff Gunter, who else just came off the injured reserve? Khalid Kareem. He was brought back and then let go, and then brought back on. Or he was brought back from the injured reserve, released, and then signed back to the practice squad. So I would look to see him probably, depending on what the Jeff Gunter issue is. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. He had a dislocated knee, so I don't know.
Can't believe that. I cannot believe that Jonah Williams played with a dislocated knee.
Well, he said he lucked out because his popped out and went right back in. So maybe that's something he's dealt with in the past.
Can you imagine walking with a knee that popped out and popped back in, much less playing football? You've done it?
It was in high school, yes. Then my knee popped out, and I didn't realize it when I went to go stand back up. Reverse it. I stood up, and the knee popped out. When I hit the ground, it popped back in. And I had to sit on the bench for a while, but it may not have been as serious as his, but it did hurt for a while. And I drove a stick. I drove a stick at the time, so it was not great. I still get every once in a while. It's still like weather changes or whatever.
So that sucks.
Yeah.
That's arthritis, Ed.
So we've got some injuries that we need to deal with here. And
Ed apparently does as well.
Yeah. So hopefully Logan Wilson's thing is truly day to day, and that he is able to play on Sunday. We don't know what the deal with
Reader's
with
still
the,
a couple weeks out.
Reader's a couple weeks out. Tupo, he was in a boot. It's a calf injury. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know.
BJ Hill was getting to the quarterback. I did see a little bit of that. Obviously, there's not been any lack of Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard getting to the quarterback this entire season.
Again, I don't know how it's possible because it seems like every play he's like
2.5 sacks. That's it.
It seems like he's way out of position. But Eli Apple and Awuzie apparently have not allowed touchdowns.
I thought you were going a different way with that. I thought you were going to say that Hendrickson only has 2.5 sacks, and I can't believe that he's only got 2.5 sacks.
Okay.
He's on the quarterback.
Well,
it seems like every play.
Between him and Hubbard, I think they could probably throw a flag for holding against them on every play.
There's probably an entire football field per game of holding calls that they've missed on those two guys combined.
And so I would look to at some point they are going to get around those, and I don't know why Ed's like breaking his play watching wrestling,
giggling like a little girl.
So at some point, I think Hendrickson is going to finally, like, the dam's going to break, and there's going to be probably a string of, a game where he rips off numerous sacks each game, just to get himself leveled out. So
Chad and I kind of talked about this the other day, last night actually, as we did and Brent and Ryan, we talked about the wish list. So as it was Chad's birthday yesterday, what's your wish list on?
Happy birthday!
Don't do that anymore. I don't like
to
that.
Chad.
It's gross.
That's an awful ASMR.
Creepy. But we'll do this here. And happy belated to Chad from PTP. But a birthday wish list. Birthday wish list though for offense, defense. I don't think we really need to touch special teams unless it's to get rid of Huber. But
I think I saw Tim Daniels.
Okay, cool. Pay attention to this show that we're doing now live.
I'm listening to you. All
right, so you start. You're top of the list, man.
Say that again.
Jesus Christ. Jeff,
what's your offensive wish list, Ed?
More of it, like more long passes, more inside passes, just more of it. And I'd like to get the running game going a lot better. I'd like to get Joe Mixon moving. I know he had that touchdown pass, but I'd like to see him like bust out a couple, big runs in the next few games.
I want to see Chris Evans utilized a little bit more. I do like the way that they've incorporated Hayden Hurst into the offense.
For sure.
I know, and I'll say it every week, that we were big on that, and I know other people were too, whatever, but we liked that one. They aren't us, and we liked it first. So Hayden Hurst, I like the way they're using him. Keep using them that way. I do want to see, I know we kind of touched on it briefly, like to see Tyler Boyd used a little bit more.
Yeah.
From the slot, obviously that's his spot. I know we got to move Chase in there sometimes, whatever, but like that's Boyd's bread and butter. And I think that utilizing Boyd in the slot over the middle, things that he's used to, will open up and get Chase open on the outside more. So let's see some more of that. I was happy with the offensive line. I didn't think that I thought that they're starting to gel even more.
Be fun if they did this 3 weeks ago after they had already been through the preseason. But
so we've got that on defense. I mean, is there really anything that my wish list is that these injuries aren't that. Okay,
I want to address offense before you transition to defense. Settle down there, sport. I was also going to talk about the offensive line. I think that they've been playing at a really good level. I'd like to see that level elevated, if possible, whether it's protecting Joe or whether it's providing room for Mixon. I think the fact that Mixon, has he had a 100-yard game yet? I don't believe. But we should be seeing multiple 100-yard games from Joe Mixon. Joe should be eating. So I don't know. I'd like to see some of that. Obviously, Tyler Boyd would be another point of emphasis for me. If it's not Tyler Boyd, I didn't
No
think so.
100-yard game yet.
Didn't think so.
78.
And even if you're running P. Ryan packages enough or Chris Evans packages enough, there's absolutely no reason for this offense not to be hitting 100 yards total rushing often. But P. Ryan, I don't know that I love P. Ryan rushing out of the backfield. I think he's more of a catch and run type guy. But anyway, yeah. Other than that, and take those deep shots. Like there shouldn't ever be another game again where we talk about averaging 4 yards per offensive play ever again in the entirety of Joe's career. Ever again. Just saying.
Okay.
Defense, what you got, Ed?
I don't know what I want to see from the defense right now.
Well, I think Jeff had a point if you want to let him talk.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
I'll cut him off, but
let me say what I have to say because mine's gonna be short and brief. Like I would just like to see them come back to as they were about 2 games ago when they were just like a force to be reckoned with. I'd like to see that again. I think they were playing great earlier this year, and I just want to go back to how they were earlier this year. Go ahead, Jeff.
I mean, I don't think I have anything more than that, Ed. What I was going to say is that I've been happy with the defense thus far. There's obviously like you can go like kind of nitpick some things, but you've got a defensive unit that has still yet to allow a touchdown in the second half. And if you get down in the first half, like they've been doing, not allowing touchdowns in the second half is a pretty good way to give your offense a chance to get back into the game. So just give me more of the same on the defensive side of the ball. Let's hope these injuries aren't long-term serious things. Obviously, guys are going to get banged up and bruised up and that kind of thing, and maybe they do have to miss a game here or there. Let's hope some guys can step up and fill those roles. Crip Keeper doesn't want to see anybody under center on offense ever again. He is a pistol and shotgun kind of guy.
That's how I am in Madden, if we're gonna be honest.
So, I mean, that's just my thought on defense. I mean, I know you could probably go in and nitpick some things like let's get some more pressure.
I want more turnovers.
That'd be great too. Yeah,
I don't feel like I've seen enough turnovers, especially from the secondary. The secondary is good. They're not great. I don't think you can call yourself great until you're turning the ball over, at least at a higher percentage, a higher clip than we're doing right now. I mean, we've seen just Seattle because I follow them so much with all the hashtag Bearcats in the NFL. But Tariq Woolen on one side of the cornerbacks, he's got 4 picks, and on the other side of the ball, Kobe Bryant's got 4 forced fumbles. Like
leads the league.
And no other rookie has ever done that before in 6 games.
Since 1999.
Since 2000 when they started keeping the stat is what it said. Yeah.
So.
But in any case, there's ways to you don't always have to intercept the ball. I guess is my point. And I don't feel like we've seen enough. I think we've seen Jesse Bates has been weird this season, right? Like I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one seeing that. I think there's a reason that Dax Hill is seeing a little more PT. I think they're preparing for moving on and knowing that they can't just throw Dax Hill in there as a starter next year. But I don't think you will see Jesse Bates back here on a franchise tag, and I don't think you will see Jesse Bates back here on a crazy contract.
I think that Bates is playing cautiously as he doesn't want to get injured.
And you understand that, right? When you put a guy on a franchise tag, you have to get that. But at the same time, how much are you leaving on the table because you're not playing at the level you once did? I'd be cautious to sign him, and I feel like you're probably losing a couple million. But what's losing a couple million versus losing all the millions, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a delicate dance, if you will, when you're
slippery slope
playing this contracts and what have you.
So per the teamrankings.com, as I suspected, the Bengals defense is 10th in opponent points per game, 8th in opponent points per play, 10th in opponent third down conversion, number 1 in opponent fourth down conversion, number 3 in opponent red zone scoring, and number 2 in opponent touchdowns per game at 1.3. Where things get a little bit shaky is their number 23 in opponent yards per rush, 4.7. And number 21 in opponent rushing yards per game, giving up 121. Now, I don't know if that's maybe does kind of opponent play calling kind of affects that. But I can't imagine that it affects it so much so that it's kind of an issue because DJ Reader hasn't been in there. When he's in there, like, he's a plug and stops a lot of things at the line. So hopefully, we kind of get that back whenever he's off. I think it's after week 8. I think they can bring him back. So basically, after the bye week, I think they can bring him back.
I think that there's some dudes out there right now, whether it be plucking somebody off a practice squad, like a Curtis Brooks,
and the other thing that we'll bring up is they're number 14 with 1.3 takeaways per game. So
not enough. I want more.
That goes to Aaron's point of wanting more.
Ndamukong Suh still out there.
Is that somebody that you want to bring in? And
I don't know if you want
maybe upset the apple cart.
I don't know if he's good for a. But I don't think that you run any risk bringing in a Curtis Brooks.
No, I did see somebody suggested that like the other day, and
I know I already brought up Goodberry, but it was also a Goodberry suggestion that I retweeted,
okay, well,
and also hashtagged Bearcats in the NFL.
Well, Goodberry, yeah, I keep using that hashtag, and then I realized like literally like 3 minutes before I use it on a tweet that you've already done it. So I'm probably
you guys are battling with those. I just let Aaron do it.
Aaron beats me to it every time. So
it's not really a battle when you're always winning.
Oh,
okay, all right. Whoa.
I mean, I guess if I had time just to scroll Twitter all day, I'd have it too.
Yep. Well,
all right.
Ooh.
But it's Aaron's job. So if he wasn't beating me, then he wouldn't be doing well at his job, and he is doing excellent at his job. Number 1 producer in the city. All right.
I am fired up.
Yep, I know you're fired up. Good job, Aaron.
Fired up.
Moving on. The Bearcats play again this week. We said we would talk about it. We have it's not a Dave and Chad preview, but a little preview here. They play SMU. It is the first of 2 straight home or away games, rather.
They're bringing extra cleats.
Battling SMU and battling Orlando. Orlando in the. I can't with you. And then they'll be at UCF the week after
in the bounce house.
I haven't decided if I'm going yet or not. But there is a shot that I may be down there for the game in Orlando.
Okay. It's going to fall apart one day.
So Coach Fickle did his presser today. He did admit that Ben went through concussion protocol.
Mm-hmm.
He was back out there by what Chad talked about today in the nightcap. So it looks like he's cleared. Tyler Scott, on the other hand, was not cleared yet, but Will Pauling is back.
Okay.
So you don't want to take Tanner Mordecai, who has been slinging the ball everywhere, averaging, I would imagine, over 40 passes per game, if not close to 50.
145 for 238. Is what he is on the season.
238
for 2,000 yards.
238 in what, 5 games, I'd assume? So 238.
6 games. They are 3-3.
238 in 6 games. So 39.6. So almost 40 passes per game. 2,000 how many yards?
2016.
2016 divided by 6, 336 yards per game. They're going to be passing the ball. I'm a little nervous about this game. I'm more nervous about UCF as John Rice Plumlee had 7 touchdowns by himself last week, 4 in the air, 3 on the ground.
Let's
Had a
take
monster game.
Take into account they were playing Temple.
There is that. But so, again, going back to the birthday list, if you will, Ed, what do you want to see out of Cincinnati Bearcats this week as they take on SMU from offense?
Guy with a shovel. On the offensive side,
It is offensive. I get it.
I don't know. I guess some consistency out of Ben Bryant. Like he play. It seems like he plays one half and then doesn't play the second half. So maybe playing both halves would be nice, or at least, yeah, both halves would be nice. Guys, I'm sorry. I think Adam Page just got knocked out. I think he has a concussion. Like they just stopped the match.
Ed's doing his wrestling minute in the middle of our show.
Yep.
I was just
Spaced out over an hour and a half.
Game day has UCF versus UC as one of the options for game day, Aaron, if that matters. By the way, thank you, Kenny.
So
_ A6. I've never seen you in the chat before. I appreciate it.
I appreciate him too.
At least what the UCF podcast are saying. I mean, I've seen it out there a couple times. I mean, that would be cool.
I heard on Twitter that they were trying to get it as well. So,
oh, of course they're trying to get it.
I will go with what I would like to see on offense if Tyler Scott can't go. We need to get Lenny and Josh Wiley involved a little bit more. I've said it all year. I would like to see the tight ends utilize. I mean, they're both, I would like to say, NFL draftable tight ends. And I know that they use them. I know that they use them as needed, and when Ben gets through his progressions to them, I would just kind of like to see them maybe as like a first option. Maybe that helps to open up, the running game. I don't know. Is Corey Kiner back? Do we know?
Yes.
So
confirmed.
Okay.
In the presser by Luke.
I know I've said it all year that I like the fact that the running game does seem to have some plug and play parts. You get a different look from each guy. Aaron's guy Chunk really has handled the load pretty well as RB1 while Kiner's hurt, and really being able to swap between the guys there is good. I would just like to see our tight ends utilized a little bit more. It's kind of one of those like nitpicky, and I know I keep saying that, but when you're winning games, it's sometimes kind of hard to say like, oh, I want to see this or I want to see that, like, and feel the privilege of that, of like, you want to complain. I mean, you want to complain about, I know there's been complaints all year for whatever reason about wanting to take like Ben Bryant out. He was my first half of the season offensive MVP.
Yeah.
He's been good. He's been good. So like, it is what it is.
He's not quite great.
Right. And we said that from the beginning of the year. He's done what has needed to be done to win games. Yes, we didn't win at Arkansas first game of the season. There was a lot of other things. If you want to hear the breakdown of that, go to the Bearcat Brunch episode 1. Because that was a good breakdown. So I mean, I don't think that there's much else that I need out of the offense, but
I want to see, for me, it's actually the same thing, and this is how we'll transition also to defense, but it's the same thing on both sides of the ball. Third down efficiency. The defense is giving up a lot of third downs. The offense is not getting a lot of third downs, and that's been the Achilles heel of this team thus far this season. As we're halfway through the season, Luke did talk about how he likes the fact that the bye came in the middle of the season, as you have roughly half your season behind you. You have roughly half your season ahead of you. And I think that's honestly probably where you want it if you had to pick. But in any case, third down continues to be something that has been a cause for concern. And Luke addressed the fact it was brought up in a question. He brought up the fact that there's not really a rhyme or reason for why they've been bad. Like sometimes they're good at third and long. Sometimes they're, I think it was bad at third and long, but good at third and very long. But it was just, I don't know. It's just there. When coach says there's no rhyme or reason for it, I'm gonna stick with him. But obviously something they've been keeping tabs on and looking at during the bye week.
Kathy says that Dan Horde said tonight Wiley's one touchdown away from breaking Travis Kelce's record. So.
By the way, restructured his contract again today.
That's because they're going to try and bring in OBJ.
Yeah.
So
but why is it always up to Travis Kelce to restructure his contract so they can bring in extra players?
It wasn't restructuring; it was him taking a buyout, and like it was.
Still said restructured, but yeah.
I mean, different.
He got all of the money up front as a bonus instead of having to wait and get paid week by week. What would you do, Ed?
When they say when you win the lottery, you should.
So back to the Bearcats. On third down efficiency, they are 29 for 75, 38%. So that leads to Aaron's point that they need to fix that, or at least improve on it, because they are 5 of 7 on fourth down, 71%.
So that's where I want to see them go. Ed, Jeff, either one of you have anything else that you want to see on defense?
Ed? It says
Pace is the defense.
I mean, obviously, Ivan had a little bit of an off game in the USF game. And like I said,
he was dinged up, though.
Okay, so he's dinged up, but what the camera angles on the ESPN Plus or whatever nonsense on ESPN online, it's so bad. And there's no all 22, so like you can't go.
You should stop watching.
You can't go like pull it up to see much. But I saw in there were a couple like angles that happened to capture that they were double teaming Ivan. I saw a couple times. So like I can't speak to if that was going on the entire game. I suspect that it was. Chad says Stinger.
As in that's how he was dinged up.
Okay. In a train of thought.
Not the Kia.
So, thanks, Ed. So I'd like to see him obviously get back to where he is. Obviously, I think teams are going to game plan against him, because if you don't, like, he's just going to cause utter chaos in your backfield, and you're going to have to deal with it that way. So you need to scheme around it. We went over this Sunday. Just more. Let's get some pressure. What we're going to need to do, Tanner Mordecai. I mean, he can get out and run if he needs to, but he's going to be slinging the ball around. So it's going to be. I would like to see our secondary kind of. We were spoiled, obviously, last year. Like you can't. There's no way around that. We've touched on it numerous times leading into the season. So they're going to need to step up. And other than that, I don't have like a lot of nitpicky stuff I want to bring up about the defense. Maybe some edge containment if they decide to start running the ball like crazy. I feel like sometimes we get beat out there a lot. But that's my fan perspective of it. I don't know if there's really stats that back that up.
Ed?
I already said my piece.
He did. He said thumbs up. Yep, exactly. Aaron?
Okay. I don't know if there's any more I got for SMU. Like I said, I mean, it's a team that has, Coach said in his presser, they've played them closer than the scores tell, and I don't look for them to take anything lightly, as it's going to be the last time that SMU plays Cincinnati, first time under this current head coach, and he's been the OC there when they've played them before, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of haymaker we get from SMU when they go down to Southern Methodist But I don't know.
Is that game
Get in,
at SMU?
It
Yeah.
is.
get in, get out, bring the dub home before you have to go to Orlando.
Steven, how was that?
20 days until Cincinnati hoops. And today, Coach Wes Miller also gave a presser, and along with David DeJulius, who announced
What a dude.
I get it didn't go over well with Steven. You probably just gave his dog some sort of heart attack.
It's at 35. Steven, you're just gonna have to give your dog earplugs on Tuesday nights.
but David DeJulius has announced that he is the Bearcats are going to be selling jerseys for NIL.
Speaking of which, not in the background, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron, what's up with that?
It's still upstairs.
Go grab
Okay,
it.
fair.
I'm not going to run up and get it right
It's
now.
not worth that.
But David DeJulius did say that the basketball team is going to be selling jerseys for NIL, and all of the proceeds for his jersey sales are going to go to buying books for inner city kids in Cincinnati and Detroit.
His hometown.
Correct. And they also had Rob Finney in a presser as well. So they had those three guys. As for Wes Miller, he said that they're going to be playing a lot of positionless basketball, which is interesting. I don't know what are your thoughts on that, Ed? As I know you're a big basketball guy, and there has been quite the evolution. As Wes pointed out, he said he was born in the '80s. It's not your father's basketball anymore. Everything has evolved to where you don't necessarily have to have 1 through 5 running out there.
You know, I think I said my piece last week. I still need to get in basketball mode. I'm still kind of like in football.
The
mode.
NBA season tipped off tonight, didn't it?
I know. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm getting ready to turn it on. I think Lakers and Golden State are getting ready to play. So I still need to do a little bit more research on, get myself in the basketball mode. So I think next week I'll have a little bit more information for you from my side.
So as for playing positionless basketball, you have zero opinion?
Oh, I think I've had my opinion on that in the past. Like, I hate that the power forward position's going away, and like it's not the same as it used to be. But yeah, everything evolves, and I'll be here for it.
Jeff,
whatever gets us wins.
I mean, I was going to bring up what Rob Finney said, because I'm going to start there and then I'll go into your question. I like the fact that he brought up, that he's got he reminded me of when they asked a question of Rob, was he aware of the kind of the history of UC basketball?
Yeah.
And his answer reminded me a lot of Wes. When they asked Wes that, and he was like, look, I was a basketball guy. I'm a basketball guy growing up. And he's like, he brought up Sean Kilpatrick, and he's like, watching those guys, he played some AAU tournaments in the area. Like that. That's another guy that understands kind of at least as a fan or maybe an outside watching it, kind of what UC basketball is and what is kind of expected here and the attitude that you need to bring to play basketball here. And then I'll get into the hype video. There's a short little hype video that got put out by Cincinnati Men's Hoops today, where they went up to. It looked like they were up in Columbus, I guess.
Columbus, yeah.
Oh, I did see that.
I don't know.
That's where they had their super secret scrimmage.
Yeah,
the super secret scrimmage that was all over the internet already.
One of those, but then they were like, one, I want to know if I can get my hands on one of those warm ups somehow, or is Under Armour going to sell it? Probably not, because they don't sell anything that's cool.
If they do, it'll be $120.
I don't care. I'll pay that.
Okay.
That warm up is dope. Did you see it, Aaron? It's
I'm sure I did, but
it's all gray.
I'll pull it up for you.
Anytime I see any of these things that the kids wear, I'm like, that's not available.
No way I'll be able
moving
to
on
it, right? But you want it.
I will never understand having something for the team that you can't actually purchase. like how that's a good marketing strategy.
I feel like the money
not.
there is crazy. Like, okay,
I
the jersey thing,
don't
like selling the
understand.
jerseys is cool, right? Selling the jerseys is cool, but it's probably only going to be like the red ones or the black. Like, it'll be like one color jersey.
It'll be the black
like,
ones, and they'll
Yeah.
have like I don't even know if they'll have the red print. It'll just be
Yeah.
like just white.
Yeah, like it'll just it'll just be one version that you can get. When like if they would expand that and open it up, like if they sold the Cats jerseys and you could get them with like the
That'd be nice.
through the like you would sell like crazy, right? Am I wrong with that?
No, you're right.
I know this is a totally different like subject that we get on every
No.
year when when UC comes up.
You will never convince me why they're not selling. That's not warm-ups.
That's not the one.
Oh, I thought you talking about
No.
the
Yep.
gray warm ups. I got you now. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep. Fail.
I will never understand. Again, like make as much merchandise available to the general public to make the most amount of money. Like you have people that would buy everything for kids, for adults, for whoever. Like I just. Oh, I did
Yes.
see those. I did see those.
I mean, they're just clean. Like
it reminds me very much of the all whites that the Bengals wore for the Super Bowl.
Hey, who's that? Who's that to the left of
Sage.
Sage.
That is one of the assistant coaches.
Oh, okay. At first glance, I thought it was Stu.
He's to our left or his left.
Right here. Oh, my mouse doesn't show up on there.
No.
To his right.
Holding the 14 ball?
14, yeah.
That's not Stu.
I know, but at first glance, it kind of looks like Stu.
Malik Elzy just decommitted. He was the highest ranked commit according to 24/7 that the Bearcats had. A wide receiver out of the state of Illinois, and Illinois has not stopped recruiting him since he committed to Cincinnati.
Four-star wide receiver Malik Elzy has decided to reopen his recruitment. The Chicago Simeon standout is now the top uncommitted wide receiver in the entire 2023 class.
It's unfortunate that Illinois is actually having a good season for the first time in God knows how long. Also, they're still not passing the ball. Weird.
Interesting. That is awful news. Way to bring the mood down, Tonk. But thanks for breaking it here.
Happy you're here, Tonk.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for coming, Tonk.
I don't know. I just it's irritating that they don't sell things that you can buy.
Jordan era, you could buy everything.
Yeah.
So bring back the Jordan era.
So my question though, and Aaron, you might have a little bit of insight into this, and you might not. Is it Under Armour that doesn't want to sell, or is it UC branding? Right? Because we've always had an issue with that. Like, give us this, give us that, and you give us a.
I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate. I have no idea.
Right.
Well, I know that there was talk, like whenever there was like some talk that the they couldn't like churn out. Was it the when they did like the throwbacks or whatever? Like Under Armour couldn't get their machines spun up to churn out enough like gear. So I don't know. To me, it seems like an Under Armour issue that they don't.
Production issue.
That they don't. And this was before. This is obviously before. This is obviously before any talk of like supply chain problems and things like that.
Doesn't surprise me.
It seems like an oversight on Under Armour's part, not understanding that like the UC fan base, right?
Well, it also could be just Under Armour in general because my son's soccer gear is all Under Armour. That's like what the league chose. And I've been waiting on a pair of shorts for 3 months now. And every time I contact the company, they're like, we're waiting on it to come from Under Armour. We're waiting for it to come from Under Armour. So it could be just an Under Armour issue in general.
I feel like other schools that have different brand deals have more options. And Chad brings up the Jordan era. Those were the days. ...
I got my Jordan era warm up over there. ...
Bring back the Jordan.
Oh,
And then I will roll into positionless basketball, and like Wes said in his thing, it's the modern era. It's what he said, like NBA. You turn on an NBA game, like as soon as you look at it, like you can't tell. And then Chad throws a winky face and probably is going to send the Twitterverse into a frenzy.
Should I go grab my Jordan era warm up right now? It's right over here on the couch.
I don't care
It's
what
not
you
necessary.
do.
Not necessarily. Gotcha. All right.
You already got the
But-
bat out for God knows what reason.
Yeah, and we're
Told you my
like
hands are
weirdly
busy.
holding it. But the
I'm playing with this
positionless
too.
basketball, I mean that's the way that Wes says it very specifically. Turn on an NBA game, you can't really pick out who's in what spot. That's the way the college game is going.
Yeah.
If you want to be competitive in the college game, you're going to have to move that way. You're going to have to move to an era in which you're recruiting kids, and kids can play multiple positions and even switch positions seamlessly while on the court. And I have every bit of faith in Wes Miller to be able to pull that off.
All right.
I just wanted to. Tonk says he wanted to tweet for the first time ever since we'll have a top 25 basketball class and top 25 football class. But thanks, Malik.
Oh no.
Dang.
What happens with him decommitting? Drops us from 23, I'll tell you that.
Well, and who knows? Maybe we pick up somebody else then, or maybe maybe they double down on recruitment,
Or
Maybe.
or maybe that's one of those situations where, hey, we went for you, and a scorned woman or whatever they say.
Hell hath no fury, like a scorned woman.
the
One
woman
of those
scorned.
things.
Sure,
So
wow, Ed with the correction.
thanks, Ed.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean that sucks. But
That's
you
it.
know what? I'm not, and I know there's some folks that are watching live now, and and I don't expect it out of the Bearcat Journal PTP crowd, but the kid made a decision. If he's gonna not come here, then he's not gonna come here. It's not the right fit for him. He feels that way. Let him go. Let him go feel the right way somewhere else. And he's 17. I don't know. He's 17, 18. I remember what I was like then, and
Me too.
making a decision that's going to affect the next couple years of my life and potentially further on, because he is a pretty highly rated kid. Probably has potential to play past college. He feels
he
like
was-
somewhere else.
He was a top 300 kid in the nation. It hurts.
I mean, it hurts. It hurts. But
All right, Ed.
it
Give us
doesn't give anybody the right to go tweet bad things at him, or say disparage him on the interwebs.
Steven, hold your dog's ears.
You didn't really give him a chance. What if he's in a swivel chair, Ed?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
More.
All right. It is the lightning round, and you didn't even play the right sound, Ed.
That's on me.
But no heads up for that one.
Great American Ballpark had an event this past week. It was Top Golf at Great American Ballpark, and it might have been the coolest thing that they did the entire season.
I remember them tweeting about this way back in spring, and I completely forgot this was happening.
It's a big issue when another sport is the biggest draw to your stadium than the one it was built for.
I think that as cool as that is, even if I had been in Cincinnati, I wouldn't have gone, because I don't want to put any money into the Castellini's pockets, because I'm still on strike. I have not stopped the strike, and the strike will continue into next season, as much as that pains me, because I still
What
don't
if
think
they
they're-
do something crazy and start spending money like gangbusters over the
Usually-
winter meetings? They bring in everybody.
Usually around Reds Fest time too.
as long as it's not Mike Minor type spending, then I'll consider. but right now I don't feel like there's a competent person above Nick Kroll in that entire office. So, okay. But that's all I have on that topic.
No, but I mean, to Jeff's point, they usually do start spending money and signing players around Reds Fest time, so we're a little over a month away. Oh, so it's my turn. This Cleveland New York series has been wild. Have you guys seen this? So apparently Saturday into Sunday morning, New York's jet just couldn't take off. So they didn't get to leave until Sunday morning to get back to New York. And then last night, Cleveland went back to their hotel after the game, and their hotel had overbooked and didn't have rooms for them. Now the series is over. Cleveland beat or New York won tonight, but
I think the bigger issue was them not playing the game last night.
The rain
and affording New York extra rest for their relievers.
Ooh, so okay, I gotcha.
I agree.
Couple with it. I mean, I think that was the bigger issue. They were like, when they postponed the game, the weather was already passed, and you can't tell me that a brand new state-of-the-art.
They didn't want to play the game, Jeff.
You can't tell me that a brand new state-of-the-art baseball stadium can't drain the field.
They didn't want to even play the game. The Yankees wanted to cancel the game before the game even started.
And it would have happened, I guess, in the regular season, the home team has more say in that, whereas in the postseason, it's the MLB's call.
But the MLB knows that it's good for baseball and for ratings when the Yankees win.
And then you have...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
Nope.
All right. That's on me. The next topic I had in there, the NFL announced today, NFL and Amazon announced that in 2023, Prime Video will be exclusively stream a Black Friday game. The Friday after Thanksgiving. This is the first ever NFL Black Friday game. Will be taking place on November 24th. It is at 3 p.m. and it is TBT on who those teams will be. And that's from Ian Rappaport today on that sheet.
So I know that people don't like buying tickets where they don't know what day the games are going to be. But what I've seen thus far of Thursday night football this season has not been good.
I'd say the first couple games were okay. The Bengals game was
Thursday
good.
Night football was good.
The very first game was
The
good.
overall product that they continue to push out
Fair.
upon week has not been good. And that said,
Amazon side of the product has been good.
I feel like maybe you should wait until is it too much to say wait until a month before to schedule these games? 2 months before?
We've had this conversation before.
Aaron doesn't believe in logistics like that, though.
Yeah, Aaron doesn't believe in
No,
logistics.
I'm here for me and me alone, and that's fine. I want to sit at home and watch a good product, not Russell Wilson.
I mean, I think the NFL season is one in which that could be done a little easier, where they already do like the flex stuff where they move them from this time slot to another time slot. So why?
But it's on the same day, so it's not going to affect travel.
I get that. So why can't a month out you realize these two teams that are going to be playing that weekend, it's going to be probably a pretty good product. We'll tell them a month out you're going to play the Black Friday game that week, so you're going to move. And it's not like it's
every week.
Right, and it's not like it's moving it. If it's, let's say, Bengals Steelers, and it's at the Steelers, so the Bengals have to travel a couple days earlier to Pittsburgh.
What if you had a caveat on games where you have this chance has an opportunity to be flexed to a Thursday night game, and you labeled 3 games a week that caveat, where that game had the potential to be flexed into Thursday night, and you put that when you sold the tickets. I think there's ways around this, and I think there's ways you can do it. College football doesn't announce the times of the kickoffs until a week. We just
a week of.
Yeah.
Do we even have an announcement for UCF yet? It's either 12 or 3:30. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
So
this next one is for Tonk. Creed 3 trailer dropped today. It looks great. Creed fights his looks like he's gonna be fighting his his longtime friend who got put in the slammer for a long time. Now he's out, and all of a sudden he's a great boxer.
Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, I believe.
Well, he's directing this one, huh? I missed that part in the credits.
Creed 4 will be Ed versus Tonk.
I gotta get back in the gym if that's gonna happen.
Blink Light Festival. There are apparently a lot of complaints about people having to walk too far.
No,
And
I don't think that was the case. I think it
And
was.
the parking was a problem. Have you people been downtown?
Welcome to downtown Cincinnati.
Right? Like, how did you not think there's a map even? That
Parking wasn't a problem, to be honest. Like I went down there on Sunday and we found parking right away.
I think people
Yeah,
were mad
the
about how
problem
much it cost.
Huh?
I think people
Oh,
were
it's
mad about how
$20.
much parking cost.
It was
Right.
$20.
They were trying to find $10 or $5 parking or street parking.
Good luck.
This isn't the first year they've ever done it. I understand that for maybe some people it was their first time they've ever done it, but this is not new.
Well, so a little background. Jeff, damn it! A little background.
MJF
This is new organizers. I got this button. It's new organizers this year. It's like it was sporadically all over town. Like it needed a pattern. Like I feel like you should have had a pattern.
Follow the lights. That's the pattern.
Ed, you are not allowed to overrule the buzzer.
Also, like there weren't. Sorry, go ahead. Some of the installations were janky.
You're janky.
Go ahead, Jeff.
MJF. Apparently now he says Cincinnati, the Skyline Chili is not mid. You cannot reverse what you've already said.
He called the whole city
called
mid.
the
Everything.
whole city mid, and Ed is his biggest fanboy, and I don't understand it. Probably because he's an FC Cincinnati fan, and we all know that they are in fact mid.
So watching College Game Day this week, was Pat McAfee the best hire that they've made on that show?
I don't watch College Game Day and refuse to until they get rid of Lee Corso's corpse.
I mean, did you
I
see?
only watch the highlights from Game Day whenever they show like crazy things like Pat McAfee going out and directing the Tennessee crowd in Rocky Top, which was pretty cool. But
Jumping
other
off
than
a
that,
boat.
I don't watch Game Day. So.
Nope.
Okay, this next one's me. Tennessee fans are legends for taking that goalpost and throwing it into the Tennessee River.
What about the fact that they raised like
152,000.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was 2 or 7, but they raised over $150,000 for these field goal posts that the fans tore down, and they have to replace. That only cost roughly, I think the highest I saw was $8,200 to replace.
Well, the biggest chunk of that is going to the $100,000 SEC fine for running out onto the field after.
I thought it was only 25, but they also have turf to repair because people were pulling up chunks of sod to sell on eBay.
People, and there were bids like $20 for like a little pinch of
sod.
Kneeland.
It's still out
you
there.
Know what? Huh?
It's still out there.
No, I think from what I saw, I think eBay took them down because it was technically a thefted item. I did see a post that was shared from an Alabama message board where they were claiming that they needed to go get the field goal posts out of the river because they wanted them measured because they said that Tennessee had too narrow of goalposts and that's why the Will Reichard field goal missed and that it should have been plus 3 points. I knew that game was going downhill when Saban threw a 5-year-old temper tantrum on the sideline.
After the punt, yeah. Baseball playoffs have been the baseball talking heads talking about the baseball playoffs has been hysterical. I feel like they're all up in their feelings, wondering why 87-win teams are beating 111-win teams in a series, and how we all lost sight of the fact that statistics don't mean shit in playoffs, and that things happen in playoffs that are weird, and also that baseball is a team sport where you have a rotation of 5 So if we're trying to, you don't just want your first and second guys out there battling everybody. That doesn't make sense. That's not the team that even got you to the playoffs. So yeah, things happen.
The biggest thing I saw was people saying that the wild card, like 3-game playoff, it was bad for baseball because it gave those teams momentum and it put the better teams on too long of a break before they get a chance to play against the wild card winning team.
I promise you, none of the players who had that break were upset about that break. None of them.
Yeah.
You're training like a damn bum, you know that? Bum. A bum. You are a bum. You're a bum. And that's all you'll ever be. A bum.
Well, that hurts, man.
Bum of the week. SMU letting their horse shit all over the field and then having a delay for the kickoff of the game to clean up the shit. If you're going to have a live animal that has a propensity of shitting at random on the field, maybe roll a tarp out. It can't be a difficult thing to put a team-colored tarp onto the field as you run a horse who's literally just shitting everywhere.
Not a full-size horse. It's a mini horse.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Lots of teams have actual horses as well that they run out there.
We talked about this in the show once, but do you remember when the Cincinnati Zoo brought the elephants out in the field for an opening day game over at Riverfront and the elephant shit on the field?
I
Yeah, AstroTurf.
That, no.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Okay. My bum is Jacob Morley. He's apparently a staff writer for Packer Report. And he tweeted out today, "The Bengals stink. They are notoriously cheap. They already paid Boyd. No way in heck they let Chase leave. T. Higgins needs a new contract. Why don't they let Green Bay worry about that? I'd at least call." And he has been absolutely annihilated. He apparently thinks that. So let's see here. Goodberry says the Bengals hang up the phone immediately and laugh. And Jake Liskow replied with a very long list of reasons why that is a stupid idea.
Well, there's still a whole year left after this year on his contract, for starters. Secondly, you just came off the Super Bowl. Why would you trade one of your best players in hopes of not getting to the Super Bowl? I would think DJ Moore in Carolina is probably a better option for you, Green Bay, than T. Higgins.
Not to mention Aaron Rodgers said that the Green Bay offense is too complicated.
He also said that Sauce Gardner is a really good quarterback.
I'm hesitant to say this, but I imagine that the Bengals figure out a way to get it done. And I can't foresee them having a Mohamed Sanu and Marvin Jones situation happen ever again, to where you just let your best receivers walk.
Then he doubled down backwards and said the Packers stink too, as a reason why the Bengals should send T. Higgins there. And at some point he said, like, for a third round pick.
Is he just a fan? Who is this guy?
I mean, he's got a decent,
writer.
I mean, I know it's not something to gauge anything by, but he's got 10,000 followers. He claims to be a draft analyst for Kansas City Green Bay Draft Guide, pod contributor to the Pack-A-Day podcast. I don't know.
Pack it up, Jacob. You're drunk.
That's a silly, silly thing to put out there. And one of his followers did comment on it and say Bengals fans are going to be really upset over this. And I guess maybe he tweeted it out for engagement. And if that's the case, maybe you're not as ignorant as I think you are.
We've done 2 different segments talking about him, and there it finally is.
I put his tweet up earlier.
Excellent. Anybody got anything else before we wrap up this show?
I just want to say that hashtag Bearcats in the NFL is maybe the most fun that I'm having of late, and these dudes are dialed in.
Oh, man. So good.
And I just want to say that apparently a fly ball flew in through Caleb's window today, so he does now have 7 home runs that he's caught this year, and he'll be at
All
Reds
right,
Fest
that's
signing
all right.
autographs.
That's the show. This has been Pardon the Punctuation for Jeff Howell, for the self-proclaimed best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall. I'm Aaron Smith. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Ba-da-ba.
See ya!